Well, thank you very much, Mark, and great to see everyone here today. It's a crucial topic for our sector, and there's a massive amount of hard work that's been done behind the scenes by the team at UK Hospitality, particularly Sandra, our Skills Director, and David, our Public Affairs Director. And today is really about trying to translate through the strategy that we launched around about a year ago today into the practical steps that we can take as a sector to address the challenges that we've got in terms of labour, workforce and skills, but also tips that you can take away and implement within your own businesses. And starting with the positive news, I think the really positive news that is the latest statistics that have come out from the government show that we are back at pre-pandemic levels of employment within the sector. If you look at the ONS stats for food and drink, service and accommodation, we are back at 2.6 million, so that's a record number of employees within the sector as a whole. Further 500,000 that are in the contract catering and wider hospitality sector, so we are back at the pre-pandemic numbers of 3.2 million, 1.5 million in our supply chain. That makes us the third largest private sector employer in the country, and it's a testament to the resilience of the businesses in the room and the sector as a whole that we have got back to that positive level of growth and that positive level of recruitment and employment, and it's a strong message to be able to take back to government because we are there delivering jobs at all skill levels, all ages, all abilities, all experience, and in all parts of the country. Jobs are up 10% in just over a year, and with nearly 250,000 net new jobs, almost 1 in 4 of all net new jobs across the economy in the same period. So again, that underlining message that we are the engine of economic recovery and we are the engine of growth. But it's quite clear that we could do so much more. Despite that positive record, despite recruiting back up to the 660,000 jobs that we lost during the pandemic, vacancies remain at or near record levels, 2/3 higher than pre-pandemic, and we have just around 150,000 extra jobs ready and waiting to be filled, jobs that people need and that we need to fill to allow us to grow, because 1/3 of hospitality businesses tell us that they are restricting their hours, they're restricting their opening days, they're restricting their occupancy and capacity because they don't have the staff they need to fulfill demand. And across the economy as a whole, that means we are turning away £25 billion worth of revenue that we would otherwise generate, and the Exchequer is losing out on £7 billion of taxes that would fund vital public services. So we're really pleased that we're working closely with government, and I'm delighted that the Minister is going to be here later today to be able to look at how we can take the steps to address that deficit, how we can do even more, contribute even more, and get back to growing at the pace that we need to. And we're delighted that the government has focused so clearly on helping the economically inactive back to work, and we very much look forward to hearing more news from that on the Chancellor in the budget on the 15th of March. We've put forward our proposals for how that could be achieved, and I point to our own guide to employing over 50s, developed as a result of the ministerial working group at DWP, which I'm part of and the team are part of, as a sign of our intent and the sector's capability to tackle the challenges of broadening the labour market and providing opportunities for all. This extends also into my role as a Disability Access Ambassador for the sector, promoting employment opportunities for disabled people in our welcoming and inclusive sector, and our work with Only a Pavement Away to look at the other hard-to-fill vacancies and the opportunities that are needed for supported pathways into employment with veterans, offenders, the homeless, and we're also exploring care leavers. So we as a sector doing everything we can, a powerful reminder that we are a force for good and we do deliver positive engagement across all parts of the country to undertake to attract talent. It's breathtaking, the work that is being done by the sector to be able to resolve the problems that we face. We're playing our part in tackling those labour shortages, but there's more that the government can do to help. And we've put forward a package of measures we believe can help turbocharge that recruitment initiative that we are already undertaking. I'd like to get it back from 1 in 4 net new jobs back to what we were post the financial crash, when we did 1 in 3 of net new jobs. That's where we would like to get back to. And we know that we can turbocharge those supported pathways into employment if we've got reform of the apprenticeship levy to give us control of some of the funds that we need to be able to give people a skills boot camp, a sort of springboard into higher level apprenticeship, apprenticeships and that intensive training that they need to get them back into the jobs market and jobs ready. And in the tight economic climate, there simply isn't the cash available within businesses, particularly the smaller businesses across the sector, to do that without some incentive from government to be able to help. We've also talked to the Treasury and DWP about changes to NICs to be able to incentivise employment for those hard-to-fill people. We've put forward a proposal also, pragmatic proposals for small reforms to the immigration system to plug the gaps in our workforce caused by the pandemic, and particularly the higher skilled roles that are increasingly difficult to fill, removing red tape, cutting the cost of employing people from abroad, a balanced and pragmatic approach to be able to look at how we can get back to firing on all cylinders and delivering the jobs and growth that we know we can do. Turning to today, we've got a really packed agenda to showcase the sector's challenges and, more importantly, the opportunities, as well as the practical steps that can be taken and broadened out, the key areas that we are already working on and the bright ideas that are coming up from the grassroots to be able to tackle those labour shortages on immigration, national living wage and more, as well as careers outreach into schools. We're going to kick off with a high-level overview of the labour market from John Boyes at CIPD, the human resources professional body. We're then going to focus on skills, a major area for us at UK Hospitality, particularly over the last year. And we've been working with the Minister through the Hospitality Sector Council to develop proposals for a skills passport and to map out the curriculum and the skills areas that we need to be able to galvanise our work in this area. Then we've got the Institute for Apprenticeships and Technical Education to look at that framework more broadly. Sandra's been working closely with them to show how that evolves, making sure that we have the qualifications and the training that the industry needs. We are the voice of the employer. We need to make sure that the skills framework, the vocational training framework, and all of the other stakeholders are responsive to what the employers are telling us they need for their workforce. And then we're going to hear the inspirational story of Lauren, winner of the Degree Apprentice of the Year for the West Midlands. We then have a panel session of business leaders talking about their future skills needs and what they are doing to gear up to meet them. Skills policy and delivery is increasingly being devolved at a local and regional level, particularly in the mayoral authorities, and we're going to hear from the West Midlands, Liverpool City region and London about how skills work at a local level and how this can benefit your business. And in amongst all of this, PwC will give their insight into getting the right reward package in place for teams. The Low Pay Commission will give us an update on their work. And we'll also hear from the Minister, and I understand we have exciting news that he's about to unveil today, exclusively at our event, where we can move forward and work more closely together. And then after lunch, we're looking at the entire workforce, looking at how we can collectively raise standards to make our sector an attractive place to work. It's not just enough to look at the recruitment challenge. We also need to focus on retention, how we can invest in our teams, how we can keep them motivated and look at the advantages of a diverse workforce and how we can facilitate it. Bluestone are then going to be looking at how they have broken down the structural barriers to recruitment in a rural environment, including issues to do with transport, housing and other infrastructure matters. And Adrian Ellis has pioneered a fantastic initiative in Manchester to bring hospitality and schools closer together. He's going to share what has worked and how this can be rolled out across the UK. And we very much hope that the Minister will be able to support us in that work. Finally, our immigration partner experts, Boyes Turner, will share their experience of the skilled worker visa route, how we can demystify it, how we can help businesses make better use of it, and share the practical experience of going through it. And then finally, the successful Hospitality Rising campaign, their success in promoting the sector to a new field of job seekers, using TikTok, using virtual and viral media to be able to access 18 to 24-year-olds to get more people to think again about hospitality as an entry-level job and increase the talent pool that we've got coming into the sector. So in summary, workforce continues to be a top priority for us. Yes, there are huge challenges around energy, cost of living, cost of doing business, though we're not going to take our foot off the wheel there. But we know that the underlying challenge pre-COVID, during reopening and now remains labour. And it's vital that we get this right and we work with government closely to get a labour strategy that works for the needs of the hospitality sector so that we can get back to doing what we do best, generating jobs, growth and investment across the country. I hope you enjoy today. It is very packed with information, but I hope you get a lot out of it. And I look forward to catching up with as many of you as possible during the course of today. Thank you very much.